Hi, Paola. Thank you for submitting your essay. My name is Ellen, and I'll be correcting it for you today. Let's take a look at what you have written here. This is the essay about prisoners and whether they're the best people to talk to youngsters about crime. Let's see what you wrote. It is frequently to hear different opinions about people that have been in prison and their contribution to the young population in giving their advice after they go back to society. The personal situation of any of those people is different. Therefore, with a program that could manage and supervise this communication, it would be an important benefit to society. Okay, I think the second sentence is pretty good. All right, it's pretty good grammatically. This one had errors. I mean, I know that you were trying to rephrase the task, and I definitely appreciate that, but it was kind of awkward and difficult to understand. Let me hear it again. It is frequently to hear different opinions about people that have been in prison and their contribution to the young population in giving their advice after they go back to society. Yeah, part of the problem is, first of all, this is incorrect right here. It is frequently. You don't want an adjective. You don't want an adverb here. You want an adjective, like it is common. That would have been okay. But then the rest of it was a little odd. Their contribution to the young population in giving their advice. It was just all kind of awkward. So I think what you really want to say is something like, it is common to hear different opinions regarding, let me think about this. It's hard to do it without actually writing it. So it is common to hear different opinions about the effectiveness of having ex-convicts give advice to the young after prison. I think this is what you want to say. I mean, it's not perfect, obviously. I'm not writing it, and I'm just saying it kind of verbally, but I think you get the point that that would have been a better way to say it, at least a little bit. Then I told you that the sentence was fine. There was one concern that I have. The question in the essay is not about whether it's an important benefit to society or not. The question they're asking you is really far more specific. They're asking you if these ex-prisoners are the best people. And that's really the key word here, the best. As you can probably understand, there is an inherent comparison here. So in order to score high in task achievement, you need to address this use of the word best. In other words, best compared to whom? Are there other people who could also be very good in this regard? Are they potentially better than ex-prisoners? So a high-scoring essay, in other words, one that scores in the top 3 band scores, is going to address this, okay? And the best place to begin addressing this is in your introduction. Okay, so I don't have any other comments about vocabulary. The rest of it was fine, but I did want to point out those 2 things. Let's move on. Okay, situations that have led to people been in prison. Grammar is a problem here. So situations that have led people to prison are not all of the same gravity. And for that, their time in prison and disposition to be reformed is different as well. Okay, you needed a comma here. Okay, I would like that to be explained. Okay, so it's not enough to just say it. So you need to explain to me what you mean, no matter how obvious you think it is. So, in other words, explain it with an example. Say, for example, a person in jail for petty crime may be reformed more easily and more completely than someone who has been involved in organized crime for many, many, many years. Okay, something like that would be helpful here, but you absolutely need to support all of your arguments with some sort of evidence, some sort of example, some sort of explanation, something, okay? Or some further definition, like that. Furthermore, there are some, don't use this here, of them, there are some who regret their crimes and are looking forward to improve their life choices in the future. Hence, comma, it would be very helpful for some teenagers to know firsthand, one word, the consequences of committing crimes, and hopefully those would be prevented to some extent. All right, so here you can see clearly I had to correct a bit of vocabulary and a bit of grammar as well. And then, as I already told you, it needed a little further development. All right, so let's move on. On the other hand, there is also a group of people that will go back to their old lifestyle that led, I think you mean LED, them to be in prison. It is a known fact that the rate of relapse, get rid of the D, in crime is always high without that it. Then it can be understandable that some parents or teenagers would not be open to the idea of their children or students speaking to ex-convicts, as they would see that situation as a danger rather than a benefit. Okay, we'll talk about this in a minute. In my opinion, there should be a second chance for those who are willing to improve their life choices after they leave would have been better here. So I completely agree with the statement that they could speak from their own experience about the dangers and prison life to young teenagers and help them to make better choices in their future. Okay, all right, grammar, that was fine. Grammatically, that was fine. So let's say what else you wrote. Conclude the argued vision of consider people. All right, this grammatically is wrong here. Okay, I'm not really sure what you're trying to say, so I can't really correct it for you. The argued vision of consider people that have been in prison as able to give counsel to young ones. It will continued. All right, grammar again here. As the possibility to go back to their previous life is always an option. Nonetheless, for those who want to contribute from their experience in prison, it should be a platform or a program. There should be a platform or a program that enables them to do that. Okay. All right. So the first thing that we can talk about is grammar. All right. Let's talk about that first. There was some very nice grammar, and there were parts that were really clear and lovely. And then there were other parts that the grammar made what you were trying to say incoherent, and that's what you need to be careful of. I mean, some incoherence will still get you a band 6. But when you're trying to get into the higher scores, it's going to be difficult when there are areas that the examiner just doesn't really understand. So that's the first thing. I want you to be careful about some of that. It was a matter of accuracy for me. Then I have issues. For me, big issues here are regarding task achievement and coherence and cohesion. Let's see. You decided to go with 5 paragraphs, which we don't really recommend. We typically recommend 4 paragraphs, and we'll talk about that. So that's an issue of coherence and cohesion, the way you organize your ideas. Now, if I remember correctly, you didn't actually include the title, but if I remember correctly, the essay asks, to what extent do you agree or disagree? So you said here, the personal situation, where is it? Here it is. Personal situation of any of those people is different. Therefore, with a program that could manage and supervise this communication, it would be an important benefit. So that's your opinion, and that's fine. And that's what we want to know about in this essay, your opinion. So here it was fine. This was clearly your opinion. This supported what you set up here, and that was fine. Here, though, I really didn't understand why you included this. Okay. We had no indication from anywhere in your introduction that you were going to talk about the other side of the argument. So this didn't really make sense to us unless it's part of your opinion. But if it is part of your opinion, you really should have indicated it here. Okay? So the personal situation of any of those people is different. And I wouldn't even have written that now. You see, here's the thing. what you write in this statement here, this statement is called your thesis statement, okay? So whatever you write here essentially has to reflect what you're going to talk about in your body paragraphs, okay? And I don't really think this does reflect what you talked about in your body paragraphs. I think a better statement here would have been something like, although there are valid reasons to question the validity of such a program, on the whole, this communication would be an important benefit to society if there were a program that could manage and supervise it. Okay, that is essentially what your body paragraphs are telling us. And that's what your thesis statement is supposed to do. Okay, it's supposed to reflect and basically kind of summarize what your paragraphs are going to talk about. So I don't really think, even though I liked it in the beginning, I don't really think it accurately reflects what your paragraphs are about. Okay, and that is going to affect your task achievement score. Okay, it's not going to be able to put you higher than a 6 with something like this. Okay, let's see. And then I also didn't like the order of these. I genuinely think that this paragraph should have been kind of included in this paragraph, and I also think you should have reversed them. Typically, the paragraph that talks about the side we don't really support, that's called our concession paragraph. And concession paragraphs usually go right after the introduction. So you've got introduction, and then you've got the side you don't really support. And then after that comes the side that you do support. Okay, this is a pretty commonly supported way of organizing your essay. So that's how I would have done it. I would have started with this, and then I would have combined this paragraph with this paragraph. But of course, I would have rephrased this to reflect what these paragraphs are actually about. Also, you don't want to use on the other hand. This is not an accurate linker here. You can only use on the other hand if you've already used on the one hand. You can't just use one but not the other. They go together. So that's something else you need to be aware of. Okay, Paola. So I think that's quite a bit of information here. We talked primarily about task achievement issues, coherence and cohesion issues, and then grammatical issues. I thought your vocabulary was fine. I can't say there was anything that really felt particularly high level, but you had some nice collocations and some accuracy, so that was good. All right. I would really like to see you on the online course. You're going to get so much information from it in terms of how to organize your answer, how to make sure that your paragraphs are cohesive and that they're well supported. So that's something I really would like for you. I think you're going to find it very beneficial. See if that's something you can do. And I want to wish you tons and tons of luck. Good luck to you.